I think we take really good care of our team members. This is a huge responsibility to put in someone's hands, and we spend a lot of time really sourcing out the individuals that join our team because of that responsibility.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody's mom or dad that we're putting in someone's hands, and that's, to me, that's huge. And that's not just somebody, I want to fill a schedule with.
You want to screen that person.
I want to make sure.
Thoroughly. Yeah.
Here's another way to think about it, I would say to our audience is, it's nice to have something really cheap, in terms of a price, but think about it this way. Do you want somebody helping your loved ones that's probably being paid $18 or less an hour? In other words, the business has got to make some money. So you know that if somebody's charging you $22, that means they're paying no more than $16 or something to that. I mean, that's McDonald's wages.
Right.
Life's Third Act is a podcast dedicated to helping you get the most out of your retirement. Sponsored by TuckerAllen, Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell features guests each week to discuss prominent topics for those over 55. Here's Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell.
Welcome to another episode of Life's Third Act. This week we're going to continue a discussion relating to people who want to stay in their homes. They want to age in place. I mean, this is almost a cliche, isn't it, Jill?
Yeah.
It's virtually a cliche that you in large numbers. Now, I'm hopeful that this changes, incidentally, because I'm a fan of all these communal living options that are out there, all these incredible neighborhoods and things that you can move into that are like resorts in some cases. But I know statistically, the substantial majority of you may be, depending on what poll you've read, anywhere from 70% plus, say, I want to stay in my home until they take me out horizontally. Feet first. So with that in mind, we wanted to have a guest on who has this incredible concept that I'm just wondering why this hasn't been done by others, and maybe it has. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I haven't heard of this particular concept being done as we'll explain to you in a few minutes. So, Jill, do you want to talk about, do the introduction?
I would love to. We have Roger Maddox with us. He is the co-founder of Staying in Place Senior Home Care. And Roger, I was reading the bio, and you and your brother started this company, you and your brother Michael, and you were inspired by your mom. And I love, because you had a special needs sister.
Correct.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, thank you both for having me today. I appreciate it. So my youngest sister was born with Downs, and I'm one of 7. She's 7 and I'm 6. So it was kind of her that I was kind of spent most of my time with growing up. But I watched my mother take care of her every single day, and that meant getting her up, feeding her, dressing her. She was a very strong advocate of Downs kids to really get out in the community and the schooling and things like that.
Try to live as normally as possible.
Right.
Absolutely.
Creating that awareness.
How severe? It was severe.
Very
Down?
severe. Yeah. So she needed care every day to really do anything. And again, on top of raising other kids, she just every day did it with love and care. Never heard her ever complain or give us that why me kind of attitude. Why is this happening?
She's
Sounds
one of
like an
these,
amazing lady.
These unheralded miracle moms.
Yeah. And she's still she's still with us, my mom, and my sister Karen has moved out into her own home, and my mom is still that caring person, and we've included her in our pictures of our brochures and websites, and I've made her kind of the president of the board,
I
per
love
se.
it.
Well,
But she really has been my inspiration, and and she still lives in her home, so it's a good setup to look at and really watch her and see what works for her, and what we can implement into other homes when we go in and help people.
so if I may ask, how old is your mother?
She's 92. She'll be 90.
Oh my
Man, oh,
goodness.
man.
She'll be
God love
93 in
her.
February. So, but
She is, it's almost as if she gained strength and vitality from these responsibilities
Yeah.
that she had
Yeah.
much of her life.
yeah, and she, like I said, I mean, she is still very, very active in what we do, and can call her up, talk to her, get advice, and she'll listen, and it's just been a blessing, really has.
Right.
So now I have to ask about your dad. Is your dad living or?
He is deceased, and what I've been able to take from him was really the work ethic, and really driving the quality of things. He was a tool and die manager of a company here in town, and just really learned the preciseness of things. Obviously, when you're making dies and things, they have to be
No margin
correct.
for error, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was very handy around the house, and if something wasn't made right, he'd start it all over again and refigure it the way it should be. And I've carried that on through everything I've done. Is really, if I'm going to do something, do it right. Don't worry about volume. Worry about the quality.
Perfection.
And that's
Yeah.
really what we've done here with Staying in Place too.
So did he die long ago?
About 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, still, sounds like you have some good genes in addition to role models.
My mother's father lived to 100, and so I keep rooting her on to break the record.
Man, oh man. And
So we'll see.
there are 7 of you?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well,
Never a dull moment in your household, I bet.
oh, never.
so now you have kids?
I do. I have 3.
Okay. You
They
didn't go with 7?
No. I still ask my mother how and why 7, but it's amazing how they did that. But no, 3, and mine are all married and moved out, and very.
Are they involved? None are involved in your business?
No. One is 2 live up in Indianapolis, and one is in sales. And I have a daughter that is in nursing. So, and
It's
then
kind of related.
Yeah.
it's a little bit planting a seed there, right? And then the youngest one is actually a social worker working for one of the hospitals here in town. So, but I'm not supposed to talk about anything in the future about.
I know. Look, I know how that goes. I have a
They
daughter.
want to be independent, and that's cool.
Yeah, I have a daughter who I've talked about before. She's a lawyer, and she's graduated law school, and she's doing some things now on her own. So I know what you mean. You have to kind of sit and watch and wait.
Right.
So,
Right.
Just so people know, this business is focused in the St. Louis metro area. Is that true?
That is correct. Yeah,
Okay,
we have
and-
clients north and south, west in the city, but majority right kind of here in the St. Louis metro area.
Okay, so staying in place. I'm going to kind of give my understanding of it, and then you can correct or expand on that.
Sure.
What excited me about your business when I heard about it, and I think my wife is the one who actually brought it to my attention. You had spoken at a group, some sort of gathering that one of her friends went to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the idea that if somebody wants to stay in their home, that there's one business they can go to who will deal with all those threads of responsibility that go with that. So when a senior decides to go stay at home, it may not be so much simply the health issue. It may be the other responsibilities that go with it, keeping track of things, of course, the maintenance on the property, repairs, all that, which is huge, but even additional services that they might need. I mean, once those are met, then it does seem practical for people to stay at home until they need some level of medical care that is not possible there, which would probably be moving from there to a
Assisted
skilled
living
well,
or
no, a
skilled
skilled
care.
care.
Skilled care,
Right.
sure.
Because they would end up getting as far as an assisted living facility would get them, as long as they had everything else taken care of,
Right.
and they had the supplemental assistance of people.
Correct.
But once those are met, they can stay there until such time, which such time may never come, that they need skilled care, what we think of as a traditional nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what I understood was the sort of business model of staying at home or staying in place.
Correct.
So tell me or expand on that or correct it.
No, you're absolutely correct. That was really my mission was to put together a team that would be able to take everything under one roof, basically, so that whether we were dealing with the actual client or with the siblings, the kids, that I would be the center point of getting things done for them in order for them to stay in their home, whether that be transportating them to doctor's appointments and things like that, food preparation, grocery shopping, anything like that, keeping the house clean, and then doing also the maintenance of the home to a degree. A lot of the things, clean up around the outside. We did some yard cleanups and things like that, downsizing. And then, at the beginning, you put together a brochure of things that you think that we're going to be doing. And I wouldn't have a brochure big enough to put some of the things that we've done, because what we try to do is we try to meet the needs that they have.
Tailored to them.
Absolutely. We just had a client not too long ago that has been in and out of medical care, but she's had a condo that she's had for years that she just could not sell. I'm a goal person, so I said, let's make that a goal. And we assisted helping her to sell that condo. We ended up closing the condo, with her in a medical bed. We set up a whole computer and had everybody zoomed in, and we were able to finish that for her.
So was she living in the condo, or is it just a condo she owned?
She owned it. Yeah,
Okay.
She was not living in it. But every time she went to try to sell it, something medically would happen. She'd have a medical event of some sort, and it just delayed it.
So it wasn't any problems with the condo itself, like
No.
it needed a bunch of repairs. It was her
No,
own
but
medical.
she wasn't able to, she wouldn't be able to be out there. So,
Sure.
we were out there making sure all of the repairs were getting done, the inspections, working with the realtor and things like that. So that's just an example of something we wouldn't have, thought about when we
Yeah.
started this. But again, it's really, when we meet a client, I spend a lot of time just trying to find out where they're at, what their goals are, what the family's goal is, because what we want to do is we want to create a scenario where if, when the family comes in, which is usually on the weekends to visit mom and dad, that they don't have this long list of things that they have to do. And then they end up only spending 10 minutes visiting their parents.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there before. And I'm like, what if we just took away all of that and gave mom and dad the most vital thing that they want, time with their family, and just
Yeah.
to sit there and, converse and maybe have a meal and something like that, instead of, hey, chow this burger down real quick because I have 4 hours of work to do out in
Yeah.
the yard
Right.
and things like that. So,
And it's represented also, I'm sure, in the motivation for children to be saying to their parents, look, this is not practical for you. And it is not practical maybe for the parent under those conditions, in part because it's not feasible for the children to keep maintaining that level of care on a property, for example.
right.
So I can see how these forces are at work that sort of end up with someone going into some sort of communal living arrangement that they would rather not do, but they feel that they must. So and when I think, though, about these categories that you provide services for, I would think that the the largest category would be property maintenance and repair. Is that not true?
Surprisingly, it's not. Where we spend a lot of time is really helping them live their life and in their day, if that makes sense. So we always strive to physically make sure that they're getting their exercises and doing something physically. And we also make sure mentally we're doing something with them so that they're exercising their mind. But with a lot of our clients, we want to make sure that they're still socializing, especially after the 2 years of COVID we've had where they've been stuck in this house. So it's kind of funny. Our name is Staying in Place, but we really try to get them out of their place
To be out
and get
about.
outside and socialize with people, whether they're in their homes, and we have clients in senior living, and it's the same thing. For a couple of years now, they've been locked down, and it's kind of getting them back out into a routine where they see and interact with people.
So how do you do that? I mean, are we talking like taking them to, say, their church for an event?
That would be an example. We try to get people out to get back into those situations if they feel safe with it. Maybe going out to some restaurants, just going out to a park on a beautiful day, even like today would, get out and just get some exercise outside, or even sometimes in our senior living places where there's a lot of activities, getting them re-socialized into that, and
Well, I'm trying to sort through, though, this business model because on the one hand, it seems like it's geared toward keeping people in a single-family dwelling, their home.
Sure.
And with that comes, a variety of things as we've discussed. And you've kind of placed emphasis, though, on the psychosocial piece, which is huge, of course.
Sure.
Mental health, socialization. But also there's those physical caregivers. And, of course, we know there are people who do that, that you may do that, but I'm saying there are other companies, that's not new, that they'll come to the house and give you some sort of physical therapy or whatever those things might be.
Right.
So I think of that as being the focus of your business rather than going to nursing homes and providing some similar service to somebody who's in not a nursing home, but assisted living, for example.
Right.
Senior living. So tell me, is your business primarily, though, working with people who want to stay in their houses?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
most of our clients are the ones that are living in their homes currently.
And so you will essentially, though, undertake to do 360 degrees of those things that need to be done to allow them to stay in that house. Not so much you personally, but I assume that you have contracts with third parties
Right.
who can do some of those things.
Right. We'll do all the legwork and get, if there's littler things around the house, we'll take care of those. If they want and need something on a larger scale from, a contractor or something, that we'll do all the legwork for them and, bring a couple of them in, get some bids, things like that, and set that all out for them, and so that they can make, a decision and help them look at that.
So then you have contracts, though, with third parties who can attend to all these things.
Correct.
And so the convenience to the homeowner is that they simply contract with you.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you handle dealing with all the other parties that might be required for different projects or tasks.
That's correct. They still own the decision, but I will do all the setup and
And they only have to deal with you.
correct.
And now, your company, does it provide, say, basic services such as, preparing meals or maybe assisting them with a bath or something like that?
Absolutely. We take care of all of the personal needs that they would have. My background is the hospitality business, so I really do, I enjoy the cooking aspect and, looking at it from, just an enjoyable type, or if they have special food needs, from a medical standpoint. Cleaning of the homes, that's something that we will take care of for them. As I mentioned, doctor's appointments are very
Right.
important to the seniors, and we make that a priority because we know if they miss doctor's appointments, that's bad.
Yeah.
So how do they pay for your services?
So we're private duty. So basically, for any services per week, we just invoice and we send them off an invoice. We normally, on a care basis, will work in a 4-hour block. So they're not really signing any contract or anything. We basically want to be there when they need us. So we have some clients that might need us once a week. And then we have others that maybe we're there 7 days a week or 5 days a week. It just depends on where they're at.
So they don't have to commit to, say, 4 days a week or anything like that.
No, and we'll do 2 or 3 hour stints. It's a little bit more, but for if we are taking them to the doctors, we just don't drop them at the front door. I mean, we're with them all the way to the doctor's office, and if they want us to go in, we'll go in with them.
And your services would not be considered skilled. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So that reduces the cost. They're not paying the rates they would pay for physical therapy or a nurse.
That's correct.
Respiratory therapy and those things.
Right. So when anything comes medical, that's where our boundary ends.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but the personal, to your note, the personal needs, showering, bathing, restroom, we certainly can help with that.
And errands and transporting.
Correct.
Now, what if the client is living with family members and the family members need a night out? Do you provide, say, respite where you will come and stay with that person while they're out having dinner or a movie?
Correct. Yeah, we would do that. And we have actually helped families that are taking care of a family member where they've gone on vacation.
Right.
So we've kind of made a special package together so that somebody is there at all times. In other cases, what we'll do is we'll spend the day with them. We'll do calls. We'll call them and do a night check per se and make sure that everything is good. And then, so we kind of make sure that while the family's on vacation, we are the family, and we're watching them from that standpoint.
Right.
Yep.
So may I ask what is the charge per hour for that?
We charge for a 4-hour stay is $27.50 an hour. And then currently, if it's less than 4 hours, it's $30 an hour.
Okay.
And there is a slight mileage charge if we're doing just transportation, just for the caregivers using because we use our cars basically to take them places. So.
Yeah, well, I can say that that's reasonable, especially given the rate increases that have happened in the last year.
Right.
But yeah, it was close to those numbers 2 years ago, maybe a little bit less for something similar. Which I was pricing it. So actually, the rate sounds pretty reasonable given where we are.
Yeah, and I think we take really good care of our team members. This is a huge responsibility to put in someone's hands, and we spend a lot of time really sourcing out the individuals that join our team because of that responsibility.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody's mom or dad that we're putting in someone's hands. And that's, to me, that's huge. And that's not just somebody, I want to fill a schedule with.
You want to screen that person.
I want to make sure.
Thoroughly. Yeah.
And here's another way to think about it, I would say to our audience is it's nice to have something really cheap, in terms of a price. But think about it this way. Do you want somebody helping your loved ones that's probably being paid $18 or less an hour? In other words, the business has got to make some money. So that if somebody's charging you $22, that means they're paying no more than $17, $16 or something to that. I mean, that's McDonald's wages.
Right.
And so the irony is that you simply don't want a deal where somebody is being paid those kind of wages. So when you figure that the company is going to, make profit, it has responsibilities, then $27 to $30 in this market is reasonable.
It is.
Right.
Very reasonable.
And we also, too, obviously the wages are important, and we want our team to be successful and to be able to work for us and achieve the goals that they have personally. But I think it's also something we really look at a lot, and we're patient until we find those people are the ones that really care and that really have a servant's heart. This is not easy what they do.
No.
No, it's not.
And it's not for everybody.
It's not. And a lot of people I have found that, they've come to me and they said, well, I think I'll be good at this because I took care of my mom. It's different. It's different when you're taking care of somebody else, and you've got different situations maybe that this client has that your mom didn't have.
Right.
And I find that, good caring people, sometimes they can't do that.
Yeah.
And going into it that when you take a client, you know what the outcome eventually is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you build a good relationship with these people. And it's hard at the end when, these people pass.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You get
and
attached.
You get really attached. And I think, for me, you go in knowing that this is your mission. Your job is just to help them comfortably get where they're going
to the end,
and
right?
Help and be there for them, listen to them, love on them, and let the good Lord take care of the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just serve and love on them and care for them and make sure that they're safe and they're enjoying the days that they have.
And you teach this set of values to the people, which of course you've hired based on their compatibility with that vision.
Oh, sure. They get that from the first time I meet them all the way through the process. And they know exactly what, why I created this company and what the mission is. And, they certainly hear that. And I hope they see that a lot too, because I'm not sitting in an office. I'm out there working with them, in some cases side by side. And, I have my clients as well that I take care of and help. So there's a lot of different crossovers of, if my caregiver, for some reason needed a day off, I'd be able to slide right in and cover that. And that's important to us as well, is we don't want to sit there and call somebody and say, hey, good luck, you're on your own today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always want to make sure that there's a plan B in place as much as possible.
I imagine your services, have been more in demand than ever with the pandemic, especially at the beginning.
At the beginning of COVID,
I don't know. It cuts both ways.
Yeah, we started basically almost right, not too far before COVID hit. So it was like great timing, right? But who would have known? But what we found when COVID really started to hit home and the county started to shut down things,
right?
We dropped. A lot of our clients were scared.
Yeah.
So they didn't want someone from the outside coming in. Okay.
So we pivoted and we started doing everything on the outside of their house. That's how we kind of
acquired that skill set.
Well, that helped us certainly get through that period of time because they didn't want us to be inside.
And maybe that's a blessing, though, because I think that's as important to this marketing, judging from a marketing standpoint, your business. When I think about its viability or its attractiveness as an investment, I think about both of those pieces because I know you're competing with other people who do the inside work.
Sure.
But there's lots of work. But there are a number of companies that do similar things. What really attracted me though was to your business was when I heard that you defined your mission as to keep somebody being able to live in their home, which included, of course, the things we've been talking primarily about here. But it also includes all that other things related to property management, maintenance, repairs, et cetera.
Right.
But when you put those two things together, then you have the whole solution, really, for people to stay at home as long as it's medically possible.
Correct.
And that for many people, will be until they die. I mean, because they won't have to have that period in a nursing home.
Right.
So I really like that. And to the extent that you had to develop in order to survive as a business, you had to focus on that piece of it that may have been providential.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly, it was basically our line of work during that period of time. And then when things started to get better, that's when the gates opened.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of people saw on the news the situations that were going on in these, in the senior livings, hearing stories of families not being able to see their
loved
parents and
ones,
loved
yeah.
ones. That really started to kind of change some things and some thoughts of not only for the families but for the people too. So
and you strike me as definitely a caregiver. So you definitely come across as having that profile. You're in the right business.
I've always God has given me the gift of service.
Okay.
I've always been there, and that's why I'm sure I worked 30 years in the hospitality business.
I can tell that,
Yeah.
but it's like hiring somebody to do indoor and outdoor work. I can tell you that we have at our place, we have a lady who does inside stuff, and we were wanting to have somebody help with outside. And it turns out, and I thought, well, maybe there's not enough outside, so they can do outside and inside. And I found out, no, you either work outside, in your mind, you're an outside worker,
Right.
or you work inside, but you don't do both.
Right.
And so I found out it's impossible for someone to split a job between. So it's a position we never filled on the exterior full time just because we couldn't justify it.
Mm-hmm.
In your case, that's where you are, and I see both of these pieces as being necessary. Do you give as much attention? Let me ask the question this way, and you don't have to be precise in any way, so I'm not asking you to disclose details about your finances, but this would be telling. What do you think is the ratio of revenue, if I can use that word, between the things you do outside, which you're not doing personally, but you're managing, versus inside?
I would say probably 70% is still inside for us.
But is that correct? I mean, should it be, or is it that because of your personality, I'm pushing you here, but I'm seeing your personality is all about that personal care.
Yeah. I think, well, to go into a home, first of all, it really takes time because mom and dad don't feel like they need any help. The kids are pulling their hair out saying, we need help.
Is that typically who initially calls you, the kids?
I would say probably most of the times it is.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I can see that.
Yeah. But there's that waiting period because, mom and dad are working this out, and saying, okay, maybe we do need help, and the kids, and I've been in that spot, the kids are, managing their own family and their own jobs and things like that. It's not that they don't want to be there. It's just, you're getting pulled. So I find that, with the clients that we have, you have to be very patient. Because in their mind, they're giving things up, if that makes sense, that they love to do. And, so a lot of the things on the outside, when we go in, sometimes they'll have somebody already in place to do those things. And we really do look for clients that are right at that point where they start needing help. Maybe whether it be on the cleaning side or things on the outside. Because what we want to do is we want to get in there and start kind of educating them and working with them saying, hey, these are the things probably you shouldn't be doing because if you do, it's going to lead to something catastrophic, a fall. That's the big thing. So we try to get in there at that point and start building those relationships so that as they age in place, we are already with them. So our care plan just keeps changing as their needs keep changing.
Do you get resistance initially?
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Oh, yeah,
I
big
can
time.
see that.
Big time.
And much of it, I suspect, relating to money, thinking that this money is being spent needlessly, or you know what I'm saying? Tight budgets and
Right. That is always going to be something, and I stress to, and I will go in and when I meet with them, because that's the first thing that they're talking on is, well, how many days you're going to be here, and I'll be like, I want to start small. I want to just come in 1 day a week and spend time with you and let you see what we do, feel what we do, and get to know us and trust us, okay? And then we'll just take it from there.
yeah.
And
They don't feel like they're not in control.
Right.
Wait,
And I don't want to take that away from them.
Yeah,
I
because
never want to
they
do
don't
that.
want to lose their independence.
Right.
But do you do housekeeping also? Do you have people who do that, or is that separate?
No, we do that. Well, it is part of what we do.
But it's
because
light. You probably do light housekeeping. You probably don't do the heavier stuff.
The lighter housework is usually when we're doing the 4-hour care piece, where we'll be with a client and they are priority number one.
Sure.
But what I want to do is, like, for example, if they're resting, that's a perfect time for us to do things around
To
the
be
home.
productive, to be useful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, there are some people where, we'll go in and we do the cleaning for them. And again, it's at the beginning there where they need that help. And then we build those relationships, and then we're with them.
Then you transition into
Absolutely.
more personal care.
And then it's like, well, maybe I could use a ride to the grocery store and then to the doctors and stuff. So then we're there for them as well. And then they just, it just naturally falls right into our lap, anything that they need.
It's funny, I'm thinking about Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
So she originally thought, here this guy is standing around all the time. I don't want you here. Hopefully you don't have it quite that bad. But over time, she found things that he was useful for, and he became indispensable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a little bit of that in your
As they
sometimes.
feel more comfortable, they start to realize, I could have this person help me with this. I can, so it does grow, and it's like a relationship and trust. The more it grows, the more they feel, and it's really cool, because then they start to realize, well, maybe I can go out and do some things, like I used to, maybe go shopping, and, I just took somebody to the mall for the first time in 3 years. You would have thought, I was the happiest day.
I still
Christmas,
think
yeah.
I still think that, for what it's worth, it's speaking on behalf of my audience, our audience. I think that the pitch that would make you special is that you do all those things, including all the things relating to the house. I'm dwelling on this because what you're saying when you talk about the other stuff is important. And I'm convinced that you do it very well. I don't doubt it. And I guess that's enough reason to have you on this show.
Right.
But my ambitions for you, as a help to our clients, to our audience, is the idea that there could be some place they could go who would be focused as necessary on all those things, and which includes the other stuff. Where we are historically is that you have people coming into the home doing the things that you're doing, and doing a good job, but people still sometimes move out of their houses because they can't handle the property management piece.
Right.
And it's like somebody who's a caregiver doesn't talk to a real estate manager. I mean, these people they're like this. And to bring them under the same roof and to offer all those services is special. And to the extent that you actually do that, I have to believe that that's a huge opportunity. I mean, these people are kind of two different worlds. They have nothing in common. A person who's interested in property management and a person who's interested in personal caregiving of geriatric or older people.
Right.
It's just very different skill sets and mentalities. One's not a nurturer at all. They love real estate. They like to mow and to clean and to know things are functioning well in the real estate. That's what pleases them. They're not caregivers. So it would require, if you had it under in-house as opposed to contracting it, you would have, two entirely different sets of employees.
Right.
I would suspect. And
Yeah.
and as I said a while ago, there's no chance that any of those people are going to go out in the yard and do anything. And there's anybody in the yard's going to come inside and do any personal.
Yeah.
That's just my experience. So
I liked it, I like it because it kind of, it's a variety of things.
Mixes it up.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I think that goes back to my years, in restaurants, is that, you work a couple weeks in the front of the house, and then you work in the back of the house in the kitchen. Totally different scenarios there.
Right, I can see that.
But it's like a break here, and
Right.
you're going from working with 100 people to working kind of by yourself and doing tasks by yourself and things, and so that's where I get the enjoyment out of it. But I also know that, for seniors in particular, they want things nice.
Yeah.
And it aggravates the heck out of them when something is not working properly.
Right.
So I guess we've used up 42 minutes, so time flies. But I am excited about this business, Roger. So despite my dwelling on the real estate piece, you've assured our audience that you do that too, and you just contract that done, but you handle it. So
Right.
you're a full service business, and that's what I wanted people to be aware of, is that there is a resource that you can go to and get the personal care as well as the property care. And I think both of those are critical to being able to stay at home. And as long as you are able to compete in that, I don't know of anybody else that's doing that. We had a guest on that probably will have aired last week, in which they're the opposite. By nature, they're real estate people. By nature, I can tell you're a caregiver and all that. But they're the opposite. And those who watched the show last week,
Truehold.
Truehold is the name of it. TRUE Hold. But they're mainly real estate. So their focus is they'll buy the property from the senior and then lease it to them.
Okay.
So the senior gets all their money out. But what they want to do, and this is Blackstone money. So it's Blackstone's involved, one of a partner from Blackstone. So I suspect they have lots of equity money, is my guess. So they've opened in a few markets. One is St. Louis. Kansas City's they're opening.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
So
Cleveland too.
So the concept, though, they're wanting to do that full service care, but their problem is that they're really all about the real estate, and so they do the maintenance on the property and all that. That's their home set of skills. Whereas in your case, it's very different. So they're going to have to stretch to try to do that. They have aspirations. They're not offering those services yet, but their goal is to reach from outside the home inside and beyond simply property management and maintenance. They want to provide all those services. Now, I don't know if they'll be successful as that. Their background is real estate, so they have this mentality. I don't know if the people in the caregiving industry are going to. I don't know if they're going to mesh as well with the real estate guys. So that's going to be interesting to see what comes of that. But I suspect they're going to pour money into it. But other than that, and even it's not convincing to I don't know yet to what extent they're going to pursue the personal care that you're doing,
Right.
that you and other businesses like you do. So really, you're the only business that I've come across that is willing to say to a homeowner who's aging and wants to stay at home that you can take care of it all. As long as they're willing to pay for it, you can take care of it all.
Correct.
And I think that's an incredible proposition. But I'll give you this: if I have to choose what is the native comfort area, and it's my mother or my family member, I'd want them to be a nurturer by nature.
Yeah.
And if they have to stretch a little bit to handle the real estate, I'd much rather have that than have them be at home with the real estate and the human beings are a little annoying.
Yeah. Well, we always, like I said, we always want them to be the most valued piece in everything that we do. Whether we're there just to clean the backyard or to clean the house or whatever, they are number one, and we make sure that they feel that. in everything we do for them.
I don't doubt that.
So
Are you Christian based?
I am.
Okay, that
I
kind
am.
of came through.
We don't, you wouldn't see it on the website. You won't see it on the materials, but this project is a mission for God. It really is. I've been blessed for all my years of my career, and I ended that, and I just kind of took some time and got into some real estate and did kind of the Airbnb projects and things.
You did Airbnb?
Yeah, and just kind of waited until the good Lord said, "Hey, I have a new purpose for you," and it just kept coming back to this.
It's lovely.
And
Really
it
lovely.
So, he is the CEO, and we just all my prayers is just, God, give me somebody that I can help and serve and help you today. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, that comes through. You weren't going to overtly say that until I brought it up, which I could tell though that you that seemed to lie underneath your motivation just based on our interactions today.
Yep.
But in any case, so I like to hear that personally.
I do too.
So if anybody wants to follow up, you can follow up through what? What's your website?
It's Staying in Place.
Oh, the name of the website, stayinginplace.com?
It's stayinginplacestl.com.
STL. Stayinginplacestl.com.
Correct.
Good. Roger Maddox. The contact information will appear, of course, with this video, but also on our website. So this has been another episode of Life's Third Act. Till next time, take care.
You've been listening to Life's Third Act, a podcast for thriving in retirement, sponsored by TuckerAllen, your estate and elder law advisors. Each week, we discuss topics and answer questions to help you better plan for your future. For more information, visit TuckerAllen.com. Subscribe and listen again next week for another edition of Life's Third Act. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.